Are you ready? It's that show. It's that show you've heard about. It's that show you tell your friends about. It's that show you don't want to miss. We keep it real, we keep it raw, we don't hold back. It's Girl Talk.
The question is, do you think black women and men will ever love themselves again?
Like love
Do you think
ourselves.
do you think black women and men will ever love themselves again? And let me explain. Okay. So you got a lot of women that I'm just going off what I.
Go ahead, say it.
You got a lot of women. Well, what I see out here is I see a lot of women that they be into it with each other. First off, they bump heads a lot. They jealous of each other. They envious of each other, and they'll be right around each other and be friends with each other, knowing that all this is there. But when it comes and in the man's world, it's the same thing with him too as well. But the difference is he actually tells the man, but he's waiting for him to respond in a certain way. But in reality, he's still he see the man for who he is already, but he's still gonna hang around him. But the woman sees the woman for who she is, and she allows to her. I'm not saying all. I'm saying because obviously if you got somebody around you don't like and you still hanging around them, you got to be lying to yourself about something. So basically what I'm saying is how can, and not even just them alone, how can we come together and love each other again too as a culture, not just the man loving, because when you bring these things together, when she work on herself to love herself again, he work on himself to love himself again, you have no choice but that to come, it's going to come together. But I feel like with women, it stems from them. This is why I put women up there. That's why I'm not a womanizer. I put women first because at the end of the day, for anything to be changed, it starts with the woman. If the women was to get themselves in order the way they, because the natural man, he wants a natural woman. So if a man was to see you move according to that, he has no choice but to switch up how he's moving. Because you are if he can't get what he's looking for out of you, and all he can do is be something, even if it ain't in him. If he got to adjust to be in this, to get that out of you, he will do that.
I said something similar to that earlier.
Yeah.
So that shows you where the power lies. Of course it lies with the woman. But now the question is, what is the woman going to do? Is she going to stay in this independent world where none of these changes can happen? Because when you feel independent, you walk in that. It's an ego. It's no longer you no more. The independency is you telling yourself, okay, here, you can have my spirit in exchange for this. Because now you're operating outside of the person that reflects you. When I look at my sister, I see me. When I look at my brother, I see me. You see what I'm saying? But if I gotta feel like I'm above you or I'm over you, I got more going on than you and all that, then I am a slave to that opposed to me, you know what I'm saying, having this over here what I got with you.
Well, everybody's looking around.
I'm saying, what's going on?
I'm sorry, what was the original question? I'm not gonna
I
lie.
think that's what Trinity said.
Okay, so let me get back to the question.
Just say the question one more
Will
time.
we ever
do you think
love
black
each
men
other
or
again?
women, do you think black women and black men will ever love themselves again?
Love each other or themselves?
You saying separately or together?
Okay, you're right. That's what I did.
In the
just say this.
context
I
of
said as a
relationships
collective,
or-
I said as a collective, that means as a culture,
As a
because we
whole.
can't stand each other. Let's be
Okay.
real. We see this every day. We can't stand each other. So as a collective, and as individuals. Will black women love black women? Will black men love black men again? Black men killing each other every day.
Okay, well, let me just start with what you said when you said we are constantly into it with each other and bumping heads, but men do that too, but men see each other for what they really are, however you said it. That reminds me of when people like to say, like, black on black crime. It's not black on black crime. It's crime in the area where there's only black people. Nobody calls it white on white crime or Hispanic on Hispanic crime. It's the fact that you're in this surrounding space of people that look like you, so that's just what it looked like. It's not based on race. It's just that's who you're next to, so that's who you're interacting with, pretty much.
So you said, will women love each? So I come from a large family. I have tons of sisters. So I have always been the girl's girl. Like, I don't really know how to hate women. You know what I'm saying? Because if you a female and I got something that can help you, that's who I am.
Exactly.
Like I don't know. So, but what I will say is I have seen where I'm like, man, I smile at I'm walking, I come in, I see a black woman and I smile and she looking like I just did something wrong. And I remember talking to myself like, why we can't smile at each other?
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So when I see a black woman and she smiles back at me or whatever, I'm like, yes. But I have been where I'm like, and then I started thinking, are we on guard?
Right.
We don't trust.
Yeah.
So are we already putting it out there? Don't look at me. You know, like whatever with the B. Don't look. And I'm literally always that person. X will tell you. We used to go places, and before I left, I knew everybody in the place. They'd be like, "Bob, hey," she'd be like, "How you doing?" I was like, "I met him in the bathroom."
Right.
But,
She'd have fixed everybody's hair.
See,
But people are different. Like, everybody is not that on guard type of person. The same way you are how you are, that's what I'm saying. You can't generalize everybody. Just because you see that happens here and there, that don't mean that's how everybody is.
I didn't say everybody.
No, not you. I'm talking
I
about
knew she was
him.
talking
That's
about me.
yeah.
But listen, anyways, I didn't generalize anything. That's the point I'm making. I'm literally just asking the questions in a general way where I'm speaking on everybody and asking when can we come together as a whole.
Well, I
So
think
it's
we
not about
already
me,
love
it's
each
not
other.
about you. It's about everybody. When do y'all think that everybody can get to this space of? I'm just tired of it being made about me.
I really
Like,
think that
everything is
we.
just being turned.
I think that we are
What's going on?
at a transitional space where I think we all want to get there, because I think the foundation of getting there, the first part of solving the problem is recognizing that there is one.
Right.
And so I think that we have recognized that there is a problem, right? And I think that we want to work toward it. Not everybody progresses at the same speed, though. I mean, that's just in life in general. So we can't just judge or determine where we are in the progress because we looking back at the ones who have not caught up to us yet. Because just like what your Bible say, the poor will always be among you.
The poor
There's always going to be some people
Yep.
that's behind us.
Yep.
And we ain't never going to pull everybody. I mean, even when we were tribes over in Africa, from what I heard, there were slaves in Africa. You had people who lost wars, and when they lost those wars,
Yep.
they became slaves to the other tribe.
Yep.
So that didn't just happen with Christopher Columbus still in America and stuff. That happened a long time ago. We sold each other out. Matter of fact, I think I heard that the Africans actually sold each other into slavery with the U.S. So we got to look at the fact that everybody ain't at the same place. So when we look at this idealistic thought that at some point we're all going to be something at one time, I don't even think that's
Possible.
reality. That's just, I don't think that's ever gonna. It never has been.
Yeah, it definitely has been.
No,
Yeah, it definitely.
I ain't
has.
never read about it.
It definitely has.
You read about it?
You don't have to read about it.
Oh yeah, that's
Everything-
right.
everything-
So how do you come up with the
everybody
information
operates-
if you ain't read about it? How you come
Because
up with
it's
this
called
information?
It's called going within. And this might
So
not
you
make
decided
sense.
for
It might not make
yourself.
sense. No, it might not
Okay.
make sense. That's
He
the
went
thing.
within and he
When-
determined
when
this
you-
information. There we go.
When you looking at stuff from a whole different perspective, from a whole different paradigm, you're not going to see things on the frequency of what other people see it as. So you just gotta understand.
That's very true.
Which frequency are you on that you are not receiving what is being taught?
They have
or
those
being
people in
told
certain
to you?
places.
That's what you gotta ask yourself. Don't judge why the person looking at it from this aspect, or why they, or even think that they being judgmental. No, ask them what got them to this point.
Don't
Why?
you think people hear things differently at different times? Give you an example.
Yeah.
Give you an example. I remember talking to somebody and I was telling them something about health, right? And going on and on. I wanted to be a master herbalist and all this other stuff. And I promise if it wasn't like 2 years later, they came back and told me the exact same thing that I said to them, but they heard it from somebody else. So people hear things at different rates at different times when they're able to receive it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody ain't able to receive what you're giving at the time that you give it. I have, for instance, I went through this thing where I was claustrophobic, right? I say I'm recovered, but anyway, it just had a recent anyway. But again, the mind is so powerful that we can. Somebody can. The lady asked me. I used to work for GE, and I used to thought it was exciting to be the tester for these freaking MRIs and all this different stuff, right? And I would get into those little machines and get my little money or whatever they gave me and stuff. I thought it was pretty exciting. She said to me, "Are you claustrophobic?" And I said, "No, I'm not claustrophobic." That day, everything switched for me. I had to go out of town, get on a little small airplane. I was freaking out, and from that day forward, I literally started struggling with being claustrophobic because the mind is so powerful that it took that and I became claustrophobic. Now I've overcome it.
I haven't.
Yeah, she haven't. I've overcome it, but I overcame it because I got sick and I had to get in this machine. And the other times when I had to get in the machine, I was crying and acting a fool and praying and everything. That time I'm like, can you help me get in the machine, right? So I realized how powerful the mind is and that we believe what we can conceive, right? And because I knew I needed to figure out what was going on with me, I'm asking the lady to help me get in the machine that I had just months before couldn't get in there. I practiced. I lay between boxes trying to practice to get in the machine. So I already know people don't always receive things when it's giving to them. It is when they are open to receive it and their mind is ready.
And that's why I said earlier I was going to let it be, because that's the thing. Sometimes it don't hit you right. You won't get it right now. You know what I mean? You got to catch it on your own time.
So another thing I want to say is in having discussions, and I've had a whole bunch of them, in having discussions, you're going to, and I'm saying this to you, you're going to get pushback if someone asks you where you got this information from and you say that you went within and got it. You're going to always get pushback on that because we can never have that information as a collective if the only place we can get that information is from within you, because ain't none of us within you. Yeah, because you just shared it with us, and then I said, where did you get that from? And you said within me.
Then let's say if you went from within, you will be able to receive that, but that ain't from, like you
I
just
probably
said.
heard it or read it or something like
what
that.
What she just said is you not going to receive it on what I'm getting. I'm able to say it because I did it. I went through it. Exactly. So that's why I can speak.
I'm saying
it.
that if that is where if you tell me, so like even with Paige, she said that the lady planted that seed because it's a mindset thing. So you can nurture that seed or you can toss that seed away. That's up to you. Okay. Yeah. So she got that from somewhere. She can tell you. I said, where did you get that information on claustrophobia? The lady at GE told me when I was trying to get in the MRI. I said, where did you get that information from? You said, I went within. So I can't relate to your information from within.
Earlier, that's why I said
I can relate to her information from the lady at GE.
I don't want to mean to say this, like I'm just putting everybody in the category of it. What I'm saying is that's why I said some people operate from physical. So when you operate from physical, this is what you just said. You can only receive as far as you can see it, right? So you view the physical more. So this is why you can receive her saying. This is why you can receive
information.
Listen to what I'm saying. This is why you can see her telling you, "Oh, I went and got it from the doctor," because you're in the physical.
Information.
That's not information.
That's information.
It's not information. That's seeing.
No, that's information.
She went to the doctor. Information.
You can read something.
I mean, you can get information. You know what?
You can read it.
Say that. You can get the information.
You can hear it.
But it still came from physical. No matter how you look at it, it came from a physical point of view.
So you're saying your information don't come from physical?
No, it comes from. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's why I said
you just make it up.
Frequencies.
You make it up and you deem that it's true.
So how?
You make it up and deem that it's true.
I'm making up a thing that's true.
You make it up because it comes from within you. So you've determined from within yourself that this information that you've determined is true.
I've experienced from within myself, not determined.
So,
okay.
So for people to receive what you're saying, is that when you're sharing
Gotta be
that,
quantified.
you know, I had an awakening, or I had a moment where I was able to go within, or you have to tell people like your story. You know, you can't just say, because everybody ain't on that frequency. Everybody ain't
right.
on. I went in and the chakras and all this stuff. They're not there. So
Right.
when you're trying to share your story, or you're trying to share that part of you, you have to break it down to the nth denominator, right? Like, to share with people what your journey was. Because when you start saying that, I understand what the spiritual is. I understand about chakras. I understand being enlightened. I understand all that. I understand about this journey that we're on, and that we're all in our auras and all that other stuff. I understand that. So I can hear you, right? But everybody else ain't gonna hear you depending on where they are.
And that's
So
why I
when
step
you're
back
talking, you can't talk over. You gotta talk.
under.
You have to
'cause
meet people
just-
where they
you gotta
are.
meet people
That's
where-
basically what I was
yeah,
saying.
And
you
see,
gotta-
but see, that's the
you
thing.
gotta
That's
meet-
why
have to
I
meet your
explained
audience
it the
where
way
they
I
are.
explained
You gotta
it.
meet people
That's
where-
why I broke
where
it
they
down.
are.
I didn't come from my perspective. When
Actually,
you see,
you didn't break it
when
down.
you see me writing this, when you see me writing the questions that I just asked off to y'all, that was literally the physical way of me asking. If you would have heard me say it in my way, it would have been a whole different set of words. It wouldn't even came from that way. But the thing is, you wouldn't have got what I was saying if I would have came from it in my way.
don't know
So
You
this
don't
is-
know that.
You don't
You
know.
can't.
You
You've been
Because
assuming
you don't
all
know
night.
You don't know people's journey. Just because we don't use the words, just because we don't say it the way you say it, does not mean that we
Y'all
don't
not
understand
even
it.
getting the question I just asked. How you gonna tell me you gonna get that?
I think I answered your
Question that you
question.
asked.
I just asked, out of every question.
What
I
was the
asked,
question?
Out of at least 3 out of 4, y'all asked me to break them down.
Because every time we answer what you asked, you told us we was receiving it wrong. No,
It
you
don't
were
matter.
saying
The
it
fact
wrong.
That y'all asked me to break it down. If you could receive, if you knew how to receive the way you saying you knew how to receive, I wouldn't.
No,
have to
if
break
you
it
knew
down.
how to articulate what you was trying to
wouldn't have to break it
say,
down.
we wouldn't have to ask for a breakdown.
Okay, so communication is, about communicating. Okay, so public speaking. First thing they tell you is that you have to address your audience where they are. So if you go into a kindergarten class, you need to speak to the kindergartners where they can
What
I did-
understand you.
Listen-
Okay.
listen,
Now,
the
if
thing-
you are dealing with someone on a spiritual level, which I get, you talk about the law of attraction, that's my stuff. I get that. The chakra, all of that stuff. Okay. But if you are, we on the podcast, right? And so we got, I don't know how many people listening to us. And so you got to talk to people where they understand it. Like back in the day, when I got monetized on YouTube, your shows had to be understandable for a 12-year-old. They had to be suitable for a 12-year-old. That was back in the day, long time ago. Okay. My shows wasn't for a 12-year-old, so I told them stop picking on me. But you had to address your audience. You got to address your audience where they are. So if we talking about something, and I said, where did you get that information from? And you said, I went within. Everybody is just like, okay.
But that's the thing. You asked me, and I could only give you where I got it from.
You can
So
say,
whether you
I
get
went
it or
through
not,
this
it's-
experience
whether
in
you get it
life.
or not, I don't have to
I went
don't
through
have
this
to prove the point to you
experience
to
in
get it.
life.
So how you
I'm
expect
just
us to
telling you-
How we
answer if
supposed
you
to
not gonna
understand
prove
Because
it?
that wasn't the question. She was asking something about me. She didn't answer
Question
about
5.
this question.
Question 5. Can we get question
She
5?
asked about me. Where did I get
So
information
effective
from? And I told her
communication.
where.
That's
Back to the
all I'm
question.
saying.
Simple.
Effective communication is what you have to strive for. And if
Y'all keep
everybody,
trying to break me down.
if everybody,
That's the thing.
no,
Like,
we're not
yeah,
trying to
no,
break you
no.
down. We're trying to understand what you're saying.
Black History
Y'all too
Month.
busy trying to
Stop.
break me down.
It's the last
I'm never
month. It's the
trying to
last
break
day
you
of Black
down.
History Month. Don't do
I ain't
that.
never trying to break you down. I'm just trying to get an understanding so we can answer your questions.
Yeah.
But if you telling us that you went within, we have no basis to go from. If you say check out, Matthew 12 and 16, or read this in the dictionary, or watch this video, then we could get an understanding.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of getting an understanding.
That's
It's
it.
hard to
That's
answer
all.
a question,
Yeah.
and I say, where did you get that from? And you said you went within, because I can't go within you.
Right.
So I don't know what you're talking
But
about.
you can go within you.
But
Right,
what
but it
and
won't
what's
be the
within
same.
me, what's within me is
Okay,
different than
you
what's
asked
within you.
then. That's what you do. You ask.
That's what I
But
did.
nobody never asked.
I've been asking.
Nobody never asked.
I've been asking. How are you
You
defining
said,
that?
How did you go? You said, where did you get that from? I said, I went within. You said, oh, okay, well, you do need to know that if somebody hear you say that, you gonna have to step back. That's what you
Give
told.
some
You didn't say
context.
So okay, what's
You gotta
within
give
you? Tell me
context.
what's within. What is within?
Give
Where'd you
context.
get that from?
Help us
What's within there?
What does that
First
process
is
look like?
healing. First off, this is why if you pay attention to most of my questions, they all were traumatic questions, and it was that for a reason, because it's trying to aim at something. It's trying to aim at how can we heal first. So when I asked this question right here, it was no different than the other ones. When you just asked me where did I get it from, I said going within. I was actually also, I heard earlier, I was a victim of cancer as well. So when I dealt with cancer and I got rid of it, I went within. Let me tell you how I went within. I went on the fruit, and this was just me just trying to get rid of the cancer by myself. I went within by going to get on a raw fruit and vegetable diet. And I did 3 months of it, I did 2 months of it, and by the time I did the 2 months, it was gone. So what happened in the process of me going on that fast was my mindset is shifted. It became something I never thought the way I was thinking now. I never did the stuff I was doing now. It was a whole like a paradigm shift. You know what I'm saying? So I only seen things this one way now. It's like taking the glass. I mean, what they say, putting the glasses on.
Rose-colored
now.
glasses.
Now you
yeah.
only see this one way, and you're gonna run across people that don't get where you're coming from, and you trying your best. See, they don't realize you fighting with trying to. You really trying to work on explaining stuff more now. That's like going to run into some information that could be jeopardizing your life right now, but you just found out the key to it. And you need to tell this person over here that can help. It's only one person that can help, but you need to let them know. But it's a certain coding that you got from over here in order to give it to them. If you don't be able to give them this, if they don't be able to receive the coding because it's a certain language or something they never heard of, then guess what? You're going to try your best to put it in every way you can to get them to see, because this can really jeopardize your life right now. You're going to try to fight to the death with getting them to, but at the same time, you don't want to lose yourself in it. So what you do? You fall back and be like, you know what? It's nothing I can do about this.
Because people are ready to hear when they're ready to hear. And
Exactly.
so that's the whole thing. I totally get, like had you explained, and I'm not saying you had to, but had you explained your journey, like had you explained your journey in the beginning, all that miscommunication would have looked so different. And again, it's about meeting people where they are. And I'm not saying that you had to tell us, but when you said that, I'm like, I get it, right? Like I get where he is. Even though I may have gotten a little bit better because my son talks and we talk about that stuff and everything like that, I would have understood it. But when you said you had a mind shift and a paradigm shift, I got it. Like it made so much sense.
And I'm sure Lashina definitely got it more.
Right. It made so much sense. But you were trying to help us understand by putting it in these terms that we then got even more confused, because you're trying to give us what your journey was. Right. But we couldn't hear your journey. Because again, it's where we are at that time. Everybody heard your journey. Everybody heard your journey. And how now we understand who G is. Like now we understand who G is.
Right.
Like it makes so much sense. You know what I'm saying? But again, it is about meeting people where they are and not trying to push people where you think they should be, right? And you may not have even intentionally done it, but it felt that way, right? And again, we know who G is now. It's like at the end of the day, we now know who you are, and we understand where your journey is, what you're trying to share with us, and what you're trying to give everybody, and we appreciate it.